My name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me, so if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. Welcome back to the Autism World Tour. Today is a very special day because we are interviewing Joe from Joe Cox Autism Vlog, and he hails from Arizona in North America. Now, I have been watching Joe for over a year now, and I love checking in with him and seeing what videos he is putting out. He does put out videos once a week, normally Monday through Wednesday, and he always shares great insight about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum in the States. So I was very excited when he reached out to me and asked to be a part of the Autism World Tour. One of the reasons we thought it would be a good idea to do an episode on North America, even though I'm also from North America, is that everyone has very different experiences. And Joe was actually diagnosed as ASD when he was in middle school. So he had a different experience going through education and college with more autism support than I did, and I wanted to ask him a few questions about that and see what his insights were. Without further ado, this is the Autism World Tour, North America. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Autism World Tour, North America. Today we are talking with my good friend Joe, and he has a wonderful autism channel on YouTube. I will link it down below. I am excited to get a different perspective from somebody who's also in the States. So when Joe reached out to me, I was like, yes, let's make this happen. Let's talk about autism in America. And here we are. So thanks for reaching out to me, Joe.
Thanks so much, Claire. You know, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I've been watching Joe's channels for almost a year now, and I just want everyone to know that he is so close to being at 500 subscribers, like 6, 7 away. So I'm hoping that when this video goes up, he's going to pass it, because I know all of you out there are going to go over and subscribe to his channel. So he puts out videos once a week on what it's like to be on the autism spectrum and some other topics. So definitely go ahead and subscribe to Joe.
Oh, please do. Thank you. Please do.
We're going to get you there.
Yes,
yeah, I've been watching your channel probably almost longer than any other autism channel. So always looking for new content to watch and to see what people are thinking and saying. And I think it helps our community. So, all right, let's get started. I'll ask you the same questions I ask everyone else, just to keep things fair and equal. So the first question for the day is, when did you first learn about autism, or what was your introduction to autism?
Okay. Well, Claire, when I first learned about autism, I'm going to go way back here, so brace yourself. When I first learned about autism was 2003. I was in middle school, and yeah, it was 2003 here in Tucson in middle school. Always got in trouble in the principal's office, always kind of seemed to struggle with things like tests and doing homework assignments. My parents didn't know what was wrong with me. And so in 2003, I was 13 years old, and I got diagnosed by a psychiatrist, a pediatric psychiatrist. And she told my mom and dad, your son has autism. My mom and dad didn't quite know how to react to that. And so they began looking at my middle school to place me in some sort of special ed class. Mm-hmm. They did not. But maybe they thought, oh, this was a good idea at the time. And then they said, no, we're not going to put him in a special ed class. No idea why.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I obviously wasn't diagnosed until my 30s, but in kindergarten, they wanted to hold me back. I was in all these different kind of meetings with teachers, and my mom was like, no, she'll be fine. So my mom did all the special work with me to make sure that I wasn't put into any special classes. They did pull me out for like reading classes and such, but they weren't diagnosing girls at the time. So
I see. Eventually, Claire, I will say about this, when I was in, let's see, the second year of middle school, they did put me in like this really weird situation, emotionally disturbed kid, self-contained classroom. So that's not exactly special education.
Interesting.
And it was one of the
If I were you, I'd wear that as a badge of honor. I'd get a t-shirt that said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how scary it is to have an emergency call button in the classroom that's bright red, and if you push the button, you can call the office. It's pretty freaky to me whenever you have one of those buttons.
Did you ever press it when the teachers left the room? Because I definitely would have.
Oh, well, I might have. And sometimes the kids would tease me like, hey, if you push the button, Joe, the fire alarm's going to go off. I'm like, no, it's not. It doesn't activate the fire alarm. It activates the speakers, the intercom system to, well, anyways.
So, so you were diagnosed, you said in 2003, correct?
Yes, 13. Yes.
So next question then, what is the normal diagnosis process in your country, so the United States? Okay. Is formal diagnosis something that was subsidized for you by your government or covered by private insurance?
All right. Well, Claire, when I was diagnosed with autism in 2003, it did not initially come, well, okay, the official diagnosis, right? That came from actually it was a neurologist. I'm sorry, it wasn't a psychiatrist, it was a neurologist, pediatric neurologist. When I was tested for autism, that came from my psychologist, my pediatric psychologist. And she tested me for autism and said, yeah, she checked off all the boxes, says, yeah, he definitely meets the criteria, basically when you're diagnosed with autism in the States, you're diagnosed by sometimes a neurologist, sometimes a psychiatrist, but it's usually the psychiatrist that writes the prescriptions for your autism, like your medications and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I get my prescriptions from my psychiatrist. I don't know, is it covered by my insurance? That's a tough question. I would probably say
probably because you were a kid. Maybe it would have been.
Maybe.
Yeah, because you were younger. Because was it set up originally through school?
Yeah. No, it was not set up through my middle school. No.
Okay, so it was just a recommendation.
Yeah, completely independent appointment set up by my mom and dad for a neurologist. Where it was from? My psychologist. There you go.
Yeah, I can't ever keep them straight either. As far as the United States, how do you feel that they have historically treated autism or ASD cases?
Okay, sure. As far as my research on this goes, Claire, I'm sure you've seen the HBO originals film Temple Grandin.
Yes.
Have you seen it? Yes, great movie.
And I know you've met Temple, so
yes,
celebrity.
Oh my God. 2010, Barnes and Noble, pre-pandemic here in Tucson. She was talking about her animal behavior book and humane slaughtering of them in slaughterhouses. So, animal science. So, I would say the U.S.'s history with diagnosing autism, it hasn't always been that great.
Yeah.
For men, I would say it's been like, for male subjects, it's been okay, but for like women, it's not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, women didn't start really getting diagnosed until the early 2010s.
Yes, I know that.
But for males, it was a lot sooner.
I knew that.
And what was your reaction to being diagnosed?
Okay, what was my reaction? My reaction was, actually, Claire, surprisingly, it was indifferent. I was like, I have autism.
Okay, so it wasn't like a surprise or...
Nah, not really. My mom and dad were like, oh man, he has autism.
Do you feel like it affected, like other than your behavior in school, how do you feel like it affected your life when you were younger?
I think that, well, Claire, I'm going to say that it was interesting because, first of all, I got to go to this special audio training thing and listen through headphones. And it allowed me to skip out on fire drills for the first couple of years of middle school. So that was fun.
Nice.
It was a huge get out of fire drills. But later on in middle school, I had to stay through all of them.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel like whatever
But I will add on to that. They did make me have a special role in class. Whenever the fire alarm went off, I would grab our orange bucket, just a Homer's Home Depot 2-gallon bucket full of multi-hazard stuff and carry it outside. It's kind of like the line leader from kindergarten, but you'd be a fire drill line leader with the orange bucket.
Yeah, maybe that's to like make you focus on something that's not the noise, do you think?
I think so. No, I think so.
Okay. And then they can see you really well too, because you have the bucket with you.
Yes.
Do you feel like, was there any like special treatment or anything when you got into high school or?
No, not really. Because I have to tell you, Claire, in high school, my experience was much better. Well, okay, I got bullied a lot more in high school because, well, high school. But I would say we had a really good autism program in high school.
Oh, good.
Like literally, Claire, the building for the autism program was separate from the other buildings.
That sounds peaceful.
Oh, very much so.
And then were you like put in with like the majority of people, or were you completely separate in the autism program?
Well, in the autism program, we divided it between, oh God, no, I hate to use labels here, but it was, Jesus, low functioning and high functioning.
I understand. Sometimes you have to use them because that's what other people use. So it's really hard to say it differently.
Yeah, no, I was with the high functioning students.
Okay. And was it like a big program or?
I would say about 20 to 30 kids. High school students.
Was it all grades of high school, or was it just?
No, all grades of students were in the autism program. It started out as portables. If you know those from school, they were portable classrooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something that we didn't. I grew up on the East Coast. We didn't really have portable classrooms because it's just winter is too hard.
Yes. I think I've heard you grew up in the East Coast. No, I think portals are only in like a Western West.
I agree. Yeah, they put out like the portable, basically like trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much for school. So, and then sophomore year of high school, we moved from portable because that got taken away. We moved to an actual classroom in a building which is part of a complex of buildings near the auto shop.
Okay, and were you in that class for all 4 years of high school?
Oh yeah, till senior year. Then my junior year, we moved into a nice new building where the portables once stood, and it had regular classrooms on the top, but we were in like a classroom on the bottom floor of the new building. It was great. Okay,
so do you think it was like better for you to be in a separate class with the autistic students, or would you have preferred to be with the general population?
No, I do. I think it was great. But see, the thing was, Claire, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't stay there all day because I would have aid from the program go with me to regular classes.
Oh, perfect. So you didn't.
I should clarify.
Yeah. Yes. So you didn't always stay in that class. You were able to be with other kids and.
Yeah. Except for the last periods of the day, I would go back there and hang out and wait. We'd all walk up to where the students were waiting for the school bus.
Because I think something that a lot of people don't understand is just because you're on the spectrum doesn't necessarily mean that you have a learning disability.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know that, but I know that.
Yeah. And so I think that's where it's like, sometimes absolutely you need the additional support, but you might not need a different class,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
So let's see. Next question.
Okay.
How do you feel that the treatment of autism spectrum disorder has changed in recent years? Do you feel like there's been any cultural shift in how the diagnosis is viewed? I do think,
Claire, that the view of it has changed culturally because we're in a more modern time now, if that makes sense. I would say that more people are, more accepting of it. But what we need, and I think this is true, we need more awareness. Because what I'd like to talk about now, I don't think you know this, there are plenty of law enforcement officers that don't know the behaviors of autism.
Right. And just so everyone knows, Joe is a volunteer with the Tucson Police. And I bet part of what you're doing is really teaching them, what those behaviors are.
Oh, yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. Funny you should mention that. I'm doing that next Monday.
Oh,
at the
cool.
Training Academy in Tucson. I know, but December 1st of this past year, I went down there to talk to them with a group formerly Chaplain West, known as Independent Adult Services. We talked to them about, just like two other students, we talked to them about what those behaviors entail, why police officers shouldn't be suspicious, because police can, what they think it is clear, they think it's like, this person's probably under the influence of alcohol or drugs, is what they think.
Yeah,
they
I can see that.
Behaviors. And because people with autism sometimes make sudden movements, you know, people always warn you never make a sudden movement towards a police officer. Well, that's why.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I mean, it's so funny because when I was in high school, my parents thought I was on drugs. And at the time, I definitely was not. I was just autistic.
Yeah, because look, Claire, honestly, I don't want autistic people to get shot or tased by police officers because they made a sudden movement.
Right.
No, it's horrible.
So so you do like trainings with the officers? Yes. Or?
And yeah, we do. But it's not just for Tucson Police, Claire. It's also for several other law enforcement agencies in Pima County.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. And we tell them, okay, here's what to look out for. And they ask us how you like to be approached in the community if you do encounter a police officer. And they say, would you like us to say to you to comfort you, you know, things like that. It's a really nice thing. Now,
do you drive?
No.
You don't drive. Yeah, I know you. No. You know what? I watched your video on rideshare, actually.
Thank you.
That's a good one. So go check that out.
But no, Claire, no, I just do Uber and Lyft because like I like having a private driver.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's way better.
It's nice. It's nice. No, it's fun because you get to find out all about them, and it's fun.
But do you like when they talk to you, or you like when they don't talk?
Well, I love it when they talk to me. I always love talking to them, saying, "Hey, are you from Tucson?" Because I was yada yada yada, and I say, "How long have you been driving for Lyft or Uber? What brought you to Tucson?"
Next question. Yeah. As far as what you see as acceptable terms around autism in our culture, I know that you mentioned that it's kind of taboo to use Asperger's now. What are you seeing, or what do you feel like is acceptable, like nomenclature, acceptable language around autism in America?
Sure. Well, Claire, as I mentioned earlier, actually, I only said this because I used it because it was an appropriate situation to use it. High functioning, low functioning labels.
Yeah.
About the autism classroom I was part of in high school, autism program, I should say. Excuse me. I would prefer the autism nomenclature. Like you, I don't like the Asperger's term because when I found out that Hans Asperger, the guy that diagnosed people with Asperger, young children with Asperger's back in the 1930s, was a Nazi, I was like, okay, that's off-putting. So what I prefer to use now is person with autism.
Okay.
Like my mom says this, like they're on the spectrum. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's better.
What about, I know a lot of people, go ahead.
ASD, autism spectrum disorder. I like that.
Yeah, I like ASD. Well, some people don't like that it says disorder because is it really disorder? It's just like a difference in your brain. So I know in the UK they use condition.
No, I've heard, okay, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one before, but I've heard a lot of ASD. Like,
I think it's just because of the DSM-5.
Oh, yes.
Now, who knows what the DSM-6 will bring, but.
Yeah, it was like phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I wonder if like, I know the DSM is always updating, but some part of me is like, is it like college textbooks where they just like change the pictures? Or so as far as like, you went to U of A, you said.
Yeah.
Did 4 years. For 4 years, and did you finish?
No, 2011, 2018, 8 years. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, did you finish in 4 years or did you take longer?
Oh, I had to take longer.
So you just did it as a part-time student?
Yeah. And the reason why I took longer to do it, like, well, again, it's okay if you take 8 years. Everyone goes their own pace in college. But the reason I took so long is because kind of funny. I took one class a semester.
Well, at least you got to really focus on it then.
That's true. Then I bumped it up to 3 later on. And my academic advisor one time said to me when I was first starting with one class a semester, she's like, "Joe, you're not gonna graduate for a while." I'm like, "Oh." So
Yeah. I remember even when I went to school, people would do like 1 or 2 a
Oh
semester,
yeah,
and it would take 6, 8 years.
there.
Usually they'd be working through. Um, I I wish I had done that because doing a full course load was very stressful.
Oh
But I didn't know. I didn't know I was autistic, and I didn't know that like
yeah,
maybe I could use a different pace. Did you
yeah.
have does U of A have like autism services?
Yes, indeed they do. So no, so good. Well, actually, Claire, I'm so glad you mentioned that because we do have two great autism resources at the U of A.
Okay.
All right, okay. The first one is called the SALT Center. That would be an
Okay.
acronym for Strategic Alternative Learning Techniques.
Is
And I
there a
use them.
pepper center?
That's funny. No,
No,
I
there's
used
not.
them for the time I was there from 2011 to 2019. They were great.
Okay, what kind of services did they
Okay,
provide to you?
they provided like tutoring, test taking, accommodations, study like a calendar, like when you turn stuff in, when you do assignments and stuff.
Okay. So they
I know
helped support
academic
you through
planner,
your
kind of
course
stuff.
load. What was the second organization you were going to
Sure.
mention?
Disability Resource Center. Now, the Disability Resource Center, they provided test taking accommodations, note taking, and excuse me, and like when you took tests, Claire, you could take them in a quiet room with a pair of earmuffs.
Oh man, that sounds so nice.
I know.
I didn't, no one even mentioned that I might have like an issue until I was in my second graduate program. Yeah, I wanted to know more about, because I never got to have accommodations in college. And I feel like it would have helped me so much because
No, no.
I had a lot of like breakdowns,
Oh my God.
meltdowns during
Oh,
like the group um
projects.
no group testing,
Oh,
like yeah, so like at some of the schools I went to, like all the final exams, instead of like
yeah,
doing them in a class, they'd have
yeah.
like all these classes come together and like sit every like 100 people would be sitting in one room.
Mm.
And
Wait.
without fail, like I would always
Oh,
like 50-50 like have a breakdown
I'm
because
so
I would
sorry.
just feel so much pressure. And
Oh,
I just wish that the times I was able to like take my time and do
yeah,
what I needed to do, like have the extra time, be alone in a room by myself, like the times I was able to test like that, it went so much better. But
yeah.
the times where I was like in that pressure situation, I would just fall apart, forget
Mm.
everything.
Oh.
So you felt like it was like when you were taking your exams, you felt like more peaceful and able
Yeah.
to handle it.
No, and I mean, thankfully, Claire, I never had a breakdown or like a meltdown in those situations in college. And that was because of the accommodations.
Yeah. So
And I'm with it.
I'm so grateful that you were able to have those because
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it's like
you.
when I think about my life and like what I had to go through,
Yeah.
I think that my experience could have been completely different and it could have been
Yeah.
super positive, but instead it was like not great. Next question.
Yeah.
So, would you say that the States has had a strong push for earlier diagnosis and
Hmm.
diagnosis for women?
Oh boy. It's a
I
tough
know it's like
question.
a loaded question.
Oh, it is a low question. Geez. Okay. I would say the States does have a push for early diagnosis.
Now, I guess.
Yeah, now. Yeah, no, no, exactly now, yeah. But for women, oh,
I think it's still like super taboo. So,
you know what? It's taboo. Let's go with that. I'm gonna say it's up
yeah.
in the air. Yeah, it's taboo, definitely.
Do you feel like if you were like,
Gosh.
do you think you would have, like, if you were born today, do you think you would have been
Yeah.
diagnosed earlier?
I I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I wonder, like, I always wonder how my life would be
Maybe.
different if I had gotten diagnosed like as a like 5. Like,
Yeah,
my
no,
life
that
would
would be
be
fun.
totally different.
Yeah, no. No, I get, you know what, Claire, I should really relish in the fact that I was diagnosed at 13. It gives me an advantage over the people that were diagnosed in their later in life, you know?
Yeah, and it sounds like I'm glad to talk to you about it because sometimes I worry, like if I had been diagnosed earlier, would that have held me back, you know? Because you see like a lot of autism parents that are like, they like suffocate their children or they don't like let them thrive. But it seems like you've had a positive experience in general.
No, I pretty much have.
Yeah. And like, to me, that's inspiring because I worry like if I had known earlier, would that have meant like that I didn't go to college or, you know what I mean?
I mean, I had a pretty good experience except for the freshman and senior years of high school. We won't talk about that stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. Believe me, I was a weird kid. So.
Oh, yeah, I can. Guilty right here. Guilty.
Right. So it's like, you know, especially looking back, I'm like, well, I can see why people treated me like I was weird because I was weird.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, but not that that's an excuse or anything. But...
Oh, no.
Okay, here's a good one. I'm sure you'll have something to say about this.
I'm ready.
Has autism become part of any pop culture of note in your country, i.e., television programs, autistic characters in media, etc.?
Oh, you know it, Claire. Let's see. Oh yeah, I know. Good Doctor.
That's true.
Big Bang Theory.
Sheldon Cooper and Amy.
Sheldon. Right. But the creators of the show, the interesting thing is, Claire, I have all the seasons on DVD and the final season on Blu-ray. And the creators have always said, no, Sheldon doesn't have autism. He's just Sheldon. I'm like, come on, you know.
Well, that's so funny because growing up, all I heard, I don't know about you, but all I heard was like, Claire is so Claire. So to hear like, oh, he doesn't have autism, he's just Sheldon.
Oh, okay.
But he definitely does. So
yeah, we know it.
No, I'm totally like when I look at Amy Farrah Fowler, she's she's so on the spectrum. And it's so interesting because like I look at like even how she dresses as a character, and then I look at like how I used to dress in college. Like I used to dress exactly like her. So
well. And then Mayim Bialik, like interestingly enough, she actually did get her degree from UCLA. So that's
absolutely. Mayim's like I'm a big fan of Mayim.
Me too. And she's got her own podcast.
Yeah. One day I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her one day. I'm just going to say it here.
Yeah,
so.
What is the name of the podcast? I forget. Anyways, let's see. Other pop culture. The Good Doctor, Big Bang Theory. That one.
You ever watch like
Kayla Cromer, Everything is Going to Be
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Then there's the other one. I can't remember the name of it.
Is the one I'm thinking of?
Socially Awkward? No, that's not it. It's
Love on the Spectrum?
Oh yeah, but that's so that's the Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have seen that one.
The only disappointing thing about that is I wish they would come here to film in the US, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they will. But I have noticed that the Aussies, they like really push it when it comes to like different kinds of TV.
They do.
They push it further than they do in America. So it doesn't surprise me that they've started filming there first. Maybe they'll have it in the US. But
by the way, am I disqualified for mentioning Love on the Spectrum? I know that's Australian, but
yeah, you're not disqualified. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no more interview, Joe. It's over.
anyways, what was I gonna say? Let's see. Everything's Going to Be Okay. Big Bang Theory. Good Doctor.
Atypical. Have you ever watched that one?
Yes, Atypical. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
You know, it's an interesting take. I've actually watched that one.
Yeah.
And they definitely took feedback from the first to second seasons because originally, obviously, the actor is not on the spectrum. He does a good job portraying it. But they added actors in later seasons when he goes to college. They added actors who are actually on the spectrum. So I really appreciate that. So you should definitely check that one out. do you watch those shows, and how do you feel about those characters? You said you watched
Okay.
The Big Bang Theory, but
Yeah, I have that on DVD and Blu-ray. Come on, I can watch that anytime. But no, but I've seen. Have I seen The Good Doctor? No. Have I seen Everything's Gonna Be Okay? Just clips of it on YouTube.
do you feel like they do a good job, like even with Sheldon? Like, do you feel like they do a good job like portraying autistic people? How do you feel about that? Because sometimes I'm watching and I'm like, oh, it's good, and sometimes I'm like,
I really do feel that they do a good job, Claire. I think they do an excellent job.
yeah. When I hear that they don't think Sheldon's autistic, I think that they're crazy. I think they just say that he's not because they don't want to get like the backlash.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, most of the members of that group are neurodiverse. So you don't hang out with neurosurgeons or astrophysicists or and meet a lot of like neurotypical people. That's what I found.
Right. The only one I didn't like that portrayed autistic people, I'm sure you've heard of it. It was a movie called Music.
Yeah, but I haven't seen it because it got such terrible reviews because of like what Sia did. Like I haven't watched it.
I didn't. I'm not going to watch it either because of what she did because it was just gosh.
Well, I heard that she had hired somebody on the spectrum and then decided against it because it was too much for them. And I'm thinking to myself, well, make it not too much for her then.
I know.
Why can't you accommodate the autistic person?
No, and it was blasted by everyone.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because of that. Maybe I should do a reaction, but I feel like the time has passed, you know?
Yeah, it was last year, so, you know. But that's all the... Oh, and what's that other awesome show? My mom told me about it. As We See It. Have you heard of that? It's an autism one.
I haven't. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I think it might be on Netflix. Me either. So, but I find like the only thing that I like struggle with is like I don't want autism to like I like that it's part of the culture, but I don't want to be like the butt of a joke or like looking at it as like, oh, it's funny to watch autistic people. Autistic people are funny because they're autistic, you know, like, so I think it rides a very fine line.
You know what? No, it does. I would agree with that, Claire, because on one hand, you want to, hey, cool, awesome part of the pop culture scene now. But on the other hand, you don't want to be like, you want people to make fun of you because you have autism. So
yeah, I don't think that it's fair to be like, oh, well, autistic people are intrinsically entertaining.
No, it does not. It's a razor thin margin, and I think that people need to be careful not to cross that margin.
Yeah, I mean, I know Big Bang Theory is over, but I wish that they had explored Sheldon's autism in that way, because I think it could have been a very powerful tool.
No, I would agree. But Claire, there is a show that's a spin-off of Big Bang Theory that's still going on. It does kind of
Young Sheldon,
Yes, Young Sheldon. I love that show.
Yeah, I wish they'd explore it more. I think that, again, I agree with you. They don't do it because it's just like opening a whole backlash from Autism Speaks and stuff like that. So
those are the only awesome shows I know. Everything's going to be okay.
I've seen most of that, and I do like that show too. It gives it like a more I think they do a good job like portraying autistic people and different, that especially in Everything's Going to Be Okay, like they show different kinds of autistic people too, so I like that. What resources are available for people on the spectrum in your country? Is there a particular organization that people should know of if they're thinking that they might be on the spectrum and they kind of want to check it out further?
Claire, I thought you'd never ask. We have multiple resources here in the United States.
Tell me all about it, Joe.
Oh, sure. Okay. Number one, the Autism Society of America.
Okay.
They're very helpful. They have resources for people with autism. They have even chapters in your local area in states. So they're very helpful. Number two, I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but it's the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, the ASAN.
I'm just writing them down so I can link them for people.
Yeah, Autistic Self-Advocacy, tongue-tied, tongue twister. The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. They're very helpful. They have many resources, and they have chapters in your state or local area where they're very good.
Oh, good. Okay.
The last one that is not good, and I did a video covering this. Number 3, it's a bad one. Autism Speaks.
Yeah, I think that's the one that most people know about too.
No. Well, here's some facts for you. First of all, none of the board members have autism. They're on the board.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, of course not. Fact number 2. Fact number 2 is none of the money donated goes to autism research.
Yeah, so basically it's like autism doesn't speak.
Yes. That's funny. It's a good one. Number 3, their commercials are like fear-mongering ad campaigns. Like,
yeah, like autism's a bad thing.
Have a TV commercial like, never knew an autism hit your family life like some kind of disease or something. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, the other one that I'll mention, just because we're both in the States.
Yeah.
Don't love the name, but the it's aane.org, Autism Asperger's Network something. But that's where that's where my doctor pointed me, and they were able to point me to a doctor to diagnose me. So
nice, that's awesome. But I've never heard of that one though, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, no, I think part of why we do what we do, right, is to raise awareness and advocacy.
Yes.
And especially to help, for me, my passion is, undiagnosed adults and supporting people who are on the spectrum who maybe don't know where to go to get support, especially because like government resources, public resources aren't the best in the States.
No.
Whereas they are better in other countries. Like, do you get any resources at all from the government or any support from the government?
No.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's funny because I talking to Gemma from the UK.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that she gets support from the government all the time. Like
that's right,
because they have the NHS.
Yeah, NHS is great. Nationalized healthcare.
And it's just interesting because like I wonder what it would be like, because she always talks about like the support she gets, and I'm like, I don't get any of that.
Correct.
It's like Claire, you're supposed to like grow out of autism or something. Like you don't need help anymore.
Oh, Claire, I'm jelly of the support that Gemma gets. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome too.
I bet she is.
Gemma. She's sweet. Last and final question.
You say the best for last. Let's do it.
This is my favorite question. And a lot of people say they haven't been asked this question before. What do you hope for the future of autism in America? Like what would your hope be?
That's a good question. Well, Claire, my hope for the future of autism in America would be that, first of all, it's no longer stigmatized, and there's more awareness for autism. And my other hope for the future is that more law enforcement knows the signs of autism, so they know not to so that law enforcement doesn't think like the person with autism is on drugs or alcohol, under the influence of drugs and alcohol, which they probably are not. So recognize the signs and symptoms of autism. My other hope for autism in America is that there's not so much taboo surrounding girls getting diagnosed with, you know what I mean? I want that to not be anymore in America.
That's great. And you know what I like about your hope is that you're really, especially with the police knowing more about it, is that you're working on it. And I think there's this idea that people who are on the spectrum like can't. So being able to say like, no, I'm actually working towards a better understanding for the police department. Like hopefully, like the more that you work and the more that other people work, it'll be a national understanding and not just a local understanding.
I really hope so.
And it will be.
No, I'm sure it will. Yeah,
people like you, Joe.
Oh, I thank you. Future of autism. Yeah.
So anything else like you want to pitch your channel or any projects that you're working on? I know that everyone is going to go and subscribe to you after this, but tell us a little bit more about your channel, what you do. And
sure. Yeah. All right. So my channel is called Joe Cox Autism Blogger. I've had the channel since May 2010, but I didn't actually start making autism vlogs until August of 2016. So that's what I'm blogging for. So I put up videos, as she said, once a week. It can be Monday through about Wednesday, but it just depends on what day I released it that week. So go ahead and check out my channel. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and, I'm excited for everyone to, what I like about your videos is they're easy to take in, just need a few minutes of your time. You talk about a wide range of autism subjects and how it affects your life, which I love.
No, thank you.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and end the recording here. But I'm glad that you were able to be on the Autism World Tour.
Yay!
And again, if anyone out there is interested in being on the tour, if you're from a country we haven't covered yet, definitely email me, and we'd be happy to have you on as a guest. I really appreciate that you took the time to talk to us today, Joe.
Thanks so much, Claire. It was a pleasure being here.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.